A warm applause for Julian Ellerby.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't really think I can follow that, if I'm totally honest, but I will do my best to complement it by doing what Robert said and talking about, let's see if we can do this. Yeah, a space, kind of taking the scale down, thinking about the interior of the office space, how that's changing, how that's developing, and how we might interact with it in the future. So, a quick introduction, I think the work we just saw speaks for itself, but maybe a quick introduction to me and like why I deserve quickly to stand in front of you for the next 20 minutes. So, as Robert said, Franklin's Hill is a design consultancy, a research agency based in London, and we explore colour, material, innovation, but really with a goal of positive social, environmental change. For us, we believe that innovation in materials is an integral building block if we're going to kind of build a more sustainable future together. We're interested in kind of the bigger picture. We're not about kind of sustaining ideas of newness, of speed, of copying. We prefer to try and connect the dots between cultural shifts, technological changes, and then helping designers, our clients, understand how those translate into aesthetic movements for them and the users of their products. So we do everything from publishing magazines, looking at how those, trying to share those insights with a creative audience globally. Publishing books, this was Radical Matter, all about rethinking sustainable materials and really celebrating the makers, designers that are doing that already. We create exhibitions, events that bring those ideas to life. This is a remade materials library for Heim Textile Trade Fair. And we also work with our clients to help them understand how the world is changing, helping them to prototype, test, and explore that. So this was for VF Corporation, where we worked to create 80 prototypes of future apparel, working with scientists, pairing them with designers, material technologists to start to imagine what that might be. But today, it's my pleasure to be here on behalf of Franklin Hill, but also Target, to introduce this idea of work life and the developing workspace, and we've kind of put that together in this magazine, Stories Journal, the first issue of which is about this. We've explored that through really just celebrating the innovative designers, architects, manufacturers that are already bringing that future workplace to life. If you want to see that, you can go and see that on thegreatindoors.eu, where Target really demonstrate their commitment to celebrating the indoors and the potential of it, and the potential of it to kind of reach those same, the same interest, excitement as the great outdoors, because we spend, in the US, the statistics say that it's 90% of their time is spent indoors. So if we're going to do that, how do we make the most of it? We really came together with Target because of a kind of shared interest in sharing research and sharing our insights and starting a dialogue. I think that's why I'm so pleased to be here in Eindhoven, and what I've been most excited about so far is it seems it's a design fair that wants to discuss and bring different ideas together, not just present the final outcome and hope that everyone likes that and someone buys it. So thank you for having me. So, the workplace is changing. We feel it, we know it. It's now everywhere, it's nowhere. As Robert said to me earlier, I'm hardly even in my office. But technology has really freed us from our desk. It's freed us from any geographical location. Work follows us in our pocket wherever we go. We're a nomadic workforce. So what is the purpose of a workplace, an office space in a world where you can work from anywhere at all? We're an urban species, and necessarily so, as we've already heard. But with 2/3 of the world population expected to be in cities by 2050, that squeeze on resource, squeeze on space, and how we're going to use it is going to continue to be a huge challenge. And the workplace is increasingly diverse. That's even if there is a long way to go, we acknowledge more than ever before, that a diversity of gender, age, neurodiversity, race is really vital, and there's huge benefits to be had from embracing that, but we have to deal with the equally diverse needs of that workforce too. Society is becoming also, increasingly conscious of the choices we make. We carefully consider the food we buy, the clothes we buy, maybe even the bank we choose to put our money, trust with our money. But increasingly, we're kind of questioning the people we work for, the businesses we work for, and looking for them to mean something bigger than just kind of sustaining our paycheck. And we're exhausted, aren't we? We have relatively sedentary lifestyles, and they're bad for us. We have punishing work regimes and workplaces that don't really support us, and we're frustrated. Target's research showed that across Europe, speaking to 4,500 workers, that 48% of people feel unfulfilled in their work. So yes, the world is changing in these ways and many, many more. But what does that mean for a workplace, an office space? How should it keep pace if it hasn't already, it's already been left behind? So we kind of sought out to talk to and look at the work of the architects and designers that are already making that happen. And we found that they were not, as one might suspect, creating a future office that is automated, controlled by technology, artificial intelligence. I apologize that I didn't actually pay for that Getty image. Sorry. The most innovative we found really are designing workplaces that respond to the emotional, the social, the mental and physical needs of the workplace. Future business leaders, design leaders need to create workplaces that go beyond the need of just corporations to extract value from humans as resources, but create value for humans. And I think that's the biggest change for us, helping them move up that ladder, helping each employee reach their human potential. I just think that's quite funny. And I think what we came away from this work feeling is that the office still has a vital role in helping businesses achieve this. A place for us as humans to congregate, to share ideas, to collaborate, to build community, connect with communities and collaborate in real life. But we do need to radically rethink what that means, creating them to be more convivial, more fluid and nourishing for people than ever before. So I'm going to introduce a few of those ideas, and hopefully there's definitely some supporting themes from the work we saw before. So first, the convivial workspace. This is a space that enables culture and community through the considered collision of people and ideas. An open environment that allows people to move, act and share freely, encouraging encounters and interaction, promoting exploration of ideas, of culture, that bring value to business, even if they're not kind of directly, obviously connected to that core. So there's a few ways we've seen that happening, and one of the ways we got most excited about is this idea that we were calling that we see them enabling collision. Embracing elements of serendipity, contrast, maybe even chaos, to allow kind of people to physically interact in new ways. And a beautiful example of this, and you'd expect it to be beautiful, is the Vitso headquarters. It's designed to reflect the principles of Dieter Rams. It's a multifunctional space that brings together manufacturing areas, office space, social space within one large whole, with these reconfigurable joists, beams, columns, made from this laminated engineered beach that allow form to follow function, as over the years they can reconfigure, reform and flex the building around the needs of its users, of its employees, of the people that work there. Different teams work alongside each other. Huge windows invite staff to look out and visitors to look in. And it's breaking down silos isn't just about fostering collaboration. It allows them to feel part of something bigger than themselves, something more purposeful. And it's something that Kevin at Space 10, I think, hits on the head. He really understands that the possibilities, the results of this, when he says, creating a workspace that does this is crucial for boosting happiness, creativity, well-being. And in their space, we've acknowledged the need for collision, for productive collision, but there's also that need for quiet and contemplation to contrast that. And with Space 10, it has, in a way, it's the kind of archetype of what we see as a convivial workplace. It's fabrication, it's technology, it's food, it's events. But in that high-performance environment, Space 10 really prioritised the well-being, the health of their work, of the people that work there too. Creating kind of something that's reconfigurable with privacy as a really essential partner to collaboration. Individual spaces, quiet nooks, partitions, small rooms that use a mixture of panels, soft surfaces, boards, curtains to create both visual and sonic privacy. So what if the future thinking about convivial workplaces, what if the future workplace provided a holistic support for diverse communities of people and businesses to thrive together? What if there's this amazing project in London, Mission Kitchen, I really love it. It kind of reflects some of the images we've seen already. Mission Kitchen are kind of seeking to create a space for food startups, but the next generation that bring them together, give them all the support services, all the resources they need, both kind of from advice, mentoring, education, financial services, collaborative communities, expert advice, professional kitchens, alongside community gardens and urban farms. A place for people to come together, not to compete, but to collaborate, cooperate, and learn from each other, built on collision and cooperation. We also need to rethink the office as a platform, a space where we invite the outside in, not just kind of a closed space to be productive and be efficient. In a world where connection is all, this need for community, embracing, nurturing networks from outside is increasingly important. And we saw this in lots of places, but I think putting culture at the core is something that really stood out to us at ADO in New York from Mini. It gathers together accelerator spaces, designer residencies, but alongside restaurants, cultural space, public exhibitions. It's this converted industrial space, which I feel they may have taken beyond the basic hipster archetype mentioned already, but it allows lots of room for not just work-related interactions, but also for the outside community to share in that creativity too. So what if the future workplace supported and responded to the needs of the community? What if it actually evolved, responded, maybe like some of the games we've talked about already? What if it responded to the local community in real time? What if it actually started acting a little bit like this store? This is Nike's store in LA, Nike by Melrose, a kind of constant beta space with to test services, test digital features, test physical features. It's hyperlocal, data informed. It's responding week on week, day on day to the data from Nike members, from their running apps, from their buying behaviors, but then translating that into highly social, highly community-driven activities and explorations in their space. So, for example, leading to them creating really on-the-go, really fast-paced, really seamless services, responsive and data-led, but highly social, and maybe something that maybe suggesting that maybe the office needs to learn from these kind of beta spaces that are informed by data, but highly social too. So, I'm not going to talk about all the sections of the report and the magazine, but the last one I want to talk about is the Nourishing Workplace. Really, for us, this was one of the most it felt the most nourishing for us too. Really, it's a workplace that nurtures mind, body, spirit. A workplace that promotes health, happiness through a greater connection to nature, tailored sensory experiences, and also integrated technology. So first, we want to think about bringing the outside in, not just as an aesthetic choice, but really to embrace the emotional and psychological benefits of doing so. architects and designers are building with nature, around nature, inside nature, blurring those boundaries, and then complementing that with natural materials with their supernatural performance as well. Some like this office in Paraguay have the added advantage of having a forest to actually work around, to be sympathetic to. But we see them also kind of complementing that with natural local materials too. So here they actually incorporated incorporated 2 trees within the design, working around the existing natural features, not against them, not removing them. And obviously, that's not always possible, but I think for us, effective design can still embrace that greenery, embrace that need to bring it into the space where you don't benefit from that geographical location. Giving employees access to living, working gardens, even farms, offers potentially an even deeper immersion and connection to nature, take them back to the land as well as kind of putting them inside of it. This is actually just down here is the Waterloo City Farm project, so kind of stuck between train line, bus station, hospital, and office blocks. And the London-based architecture firm Fielden & Fowles also have their studio there as part of the project. So the project kind of is a part learning resource for the local community, connecting them with food, making it, growing it. But for them, with their space, they connected it to the outside, kind of with a structure reminiscent of kind of agricultural barns and buildings, but opening up, allowing the natural light in there, letting the landscape gardener, in this case Dan Pearson's work, to really be the hero, and giving that a window to offer kind of workers escape, delight, reflection, illumination. And for us, the most effective indoors-outdoors designs draw first on the existing locale, even in the city, and really provide that in that really important connection, and as a focal point too. So, what if we designed the future workplace in collaboration with supernatural intelligence, working with nature, allowing it to do its thing rather than working against it, just as Myco Works' Philip Ross does with fungus? Can we turn the volume up like this? Or a lot?
I nearly broke my arm, and the mushroom still is doing fine. Mushrooms are one of the greatest transformers of material on the planet. They're the primary recyclers. Mushrooms are breaking down dead organic matter and turning it into a mineral again. They're just this tiny little part of this huge organism that is called mycelium that lives underground. And the fact that they might be used for batteries or spaceships is something that I never would have thought of originally. They're probably from another planet. Right at the beginning, I was like, this can be an art material. And so I wanted to create the furniture out of it. Then became, I'll make a building out of this. Then it was like, I'll make a company out of this. What we're doing here is we're trying to figure out how we can get the mycelium to grow into new types of geometries so that the mycelium is going to grow stronger.
You tell someone we grow mycelium and they're like, what? What is that?
Bill and his team are at the front lines of advancing our capacities for manufacturing with biology, having the mushrooms make metals and glasses.
It's not a fantasy because I just know that it's true. And so it's more of like, how do you convince the world that it belongs with us? The proof is in the pudding. One of the tests that we do with the fungi is we subject it to some pretty hot flames. This cone is actually so good that you can continue to eat it. The fungus material is self-extinguishing. This is a very desirable quality. When we're trying to figure out their material qualities, we would put it under compression. So that's the kind of failure that you want in your house. Compared to something like cement, I think it exploded a little bit. It can localize a vibration and not create a catastrophic failure. You can create all these pockets in it so it allows it to float.
That brick did not even try.
The possibilities for what you might use mycelium for are scarily endless. Batteries, airplanes, trains, cars, shoes, your bed, bulletproof vests, kids' toys, certainly, houses, helmets, insulation, anything that's made out of wood now, your boat, making rocket ships, grow robots out of them that would be partially alive and biodegradable.
But you could say that the idea that you'd ever grow a cell phone from your garden clippings and a wood fungus is 200 years away. But technologies come true when people make them true.
You saw something that...
He really likes fungus. Yeah, they do the talking. Lastly, to create a nourishing workplace, you know, as much as we need and yearn to connect and collaborate, the nourishing workplace is also about providing space for retreat, recharge, to reconnect with ourselves too. You know, we saw workplace designers creating areas of privacy, calm, kind of sensitively protecting and stimulating the senses of workers to create powerful sense of quiet contemplation. With aesthetics that are kind of more essential in feel, you know, with pared back decoration, tonal use of colour. And acoustics are obviously vitally important too. Soft material and textiles are not only tactile, they have a secondary function, sound absorption that creates healthy auditory environments. And we love this in the Focus pod seat here that allows a space for work, with a table to work on, with a kind of quiet nook to promote focus, but made out of materials, soft, natural woven textiles, light padded upholstery, curving lines and neutral wood. And where sound moderating features used to be kind of hidden, to disappear, blend in, kind of something that didn't really exist, we really see that future designs will incorporate them into schemes with subtle patterns, intriguing textures to really hero them, a lot like the Bow acoustic pulp panels here from Us With Love. And they call it kind of, the intention is to create restful acoustics. And I think because they're also amazingly kind of 100% bio-based, harvested from fir and pine and mixed with wheat bran and potato starch, they have this kind of multi-sensory appeal, beautiful to look at, beautifully textured, environmentally sound and acoustically effective. When we're thinking about the senses, we also kind of really found this importance of playing with light and interaction to lend a sense of wonder and immersion too, and started to question how this maybe lo-fi, maybe high-tech interactions could be used for kind of, and we saw they could be used for infinite effect really, creating spaces that are responsive, dynamic, to use lighting in a way that goes way beyond just regulating light and dark. Instead, to kind of use it to create an experience that is inspiring, maybe motivating, maybe more delightful. You know, I think one of the things where we've been talking a lot recently about is kind of how lighting can be used really to engage, support, and enable us to go back to our kind of natural circadian rhythms of our body. How can lighting in an office move away from strip lighting that makes us feel like we're in a kind of no time zone into something that really complements how our body wants to respond, wants to act, wants to be at its best. So, lastly, what if we designed a future workplace to nourish workers by using technology not to disrupt us constantly, but to optimize environments for well-being, creating spaces that learn and respond, and allowing designers and maybe even individuals to optimize their own spaces through sound, through light, through tactility, just like this kind of collaboration from Johns Hopkins University and Google kind of set out to explore.
The way this project is unusual is that we are actually pursuing a principle. I really believe that form follows feeling, and feeling is really what space and architecture are about. Space actually affects people.
Design matters. It's why we spend the time making the decisions we do. Those things that we as designers intuit, neuroscience is now proving have an effect. Google Google created an exhibition that is showing design's impact on our biology.
The way that I explain Neuro Aesthetics, it's really simple. It's basically how your brain changes on the arts. When you have a heightened aesthetic experience, like a piece of music, a sunrise, things that really elevate your everyday experiences, they change you. They change your biology, they change your mood, they change your emotion.
I called Suchi Reddy and I said, taking the neuroaesthetic principles, could you create 3 different rooms that would evoke different responses?
The goal is to see how people resonate with space and to really find out whether what they think they resonate with is what their body is actually resonating with.
We respond to the aesthetics of our environments, whether we realize it or not. The band can demonstrate with data from the sensors that actually is happening. Heart activity, respiratory activity, skin temperature, skin conductance. We figure out from the data which room is the one that feels the calmest or the most at ease for people.
Where does your physiology feel most peaceful? I think it's what people are searching for. The space between the notes, the place where they can come and just be.
The interiors where we work and where we live have a deep impact on our well-being. We've always known it and believed in it, but we haven't been able to quantify it and prove it. You enter a space and it's like, I like it, but why?
This is about data used as a mirror back to yourself. Data is just a bunch of numbers, and we wanted to make it artistic in its expression.
It can be really hard to put an aesthetic experience into words. But suddenly by combining science and technology, we get a new language.
We've selected room 2 as the room that you were the most calm in.
Maybe a watercolor can tell more than 1,000 words.
Technology has the ability to help you know yourself better. The problems of the future are only going to become more complicated. Solutions have to happen in this collaboration of technology, the arts, and science.
So, to conclude, I think we're in no doubt that it's time to kind of radically rethink how we design our workspaces. Creating spaces that are more human-centered, responding to emotional, social, mental and physical needs. And for us, I've explored some of the ideas, but for us in the project, we really see that needs to be done in ways that are more convivial, more fluid, more nourishing than ever before. Thank you.